Donald Trump is going nuts right now as his campaign swirls the drain. He held a rally in Latrobe, Pennsylvania yesterday, and barely anybody even showed up, and his mental decline was on full display. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris held a massive rally in Atlanta, Georgia, as the campaign held other events with Barack Obama, Tim Walz, and Mark Cuban across the country. You can feel the momentum shift right now towards the vice president, and you can feel the utter desperation of the Trump campaign in their latest moves. My name is Brett Meiselas, here with the MeidasTouch Network. Remember to hit subscribe. We are on our way to 3.5 million subscribers. Okay, first, I need you to see this. This was the crowd, or lack thereof, at Donald Trump's event in Pennsylvania. This reporter, Ryan Dito, said, took this video of the Trump rally in Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, shortly before he said, "People as far as the eye can see." A lot of open space here. This is the smallest rally of his 5 in the Pittsburgh area he has held this year. Watch this.
System, and it's a corrupt Justice Department, and it's a corrupt DA, corrupt Attorney Generals. They use it to get elected. Because you can't get elected with open borders, with transgender operations all over the place, with men playing in women's...
Yikes, that's a lot of empty space at Donald Trump's rally. Really pathetic stuff. Now I want to show you the line to get into Vice President Kamala Harris's rally in Atlanta yesterday. This was hours before the event started. Watch this. As political strategist Mike Madrid said, it feels like there's been a momentum shift back towards excitement in the Harris campaign. Good time for a campaign to peak. I would say great time for a campaign to be peaking and continuing to rise right now. I want to also show you this video of inside Vice President Harris's rally in Atlanta. You could see just the size and scope of this event. And this was also before Vice President Harris even took the stage. You could see this is massive. The crowd goes way, way back. And I don't want to forget this also. Earlier in the day, yesterday, Vice President Harris was in Detroit, and she was rocking a shirt that said Detroit versus everybody. Quite different than Donald Trump's opinions towards Detroit when he said Detroit was a horrible city last week while he was in Detroit. Watch this of Vice President Harris. And then while Donald Trump was with Antonio Brown, a failed NFL player, mired in a lot of various legal issues, who blew basically all of his money, Vice President Kamala Harris was with music superstar Usher in Georgia, in his hometown. Donald Trump was rambling at his rally incoherently. His mental decline was on full display, and he spent the first more than 10 minutes of the rally rambling about Arnold Palmer, the golfer who has passed away. And at one point, he started talking about Arnold Palmer's penis. Watch this.
This is a guy that was all man. This man was strong and tough. And I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, "Oh my God, that's unbelievable." I had to say it.
Yeah, that's just strange stuff. And this is not even the first time in the past few days that Donald Trump has brought up penises or penis-like terms. Even just a couple days ago, he was on a podcast, Dan Bongino's show, and he said that Harvey Weinstein was schlonged.
It's interesting. I was so amazed that Harvey Weinstein got schlonged. He got hit as hard as you can get hit because he was sort of the king of the woke, right? Yeah. And yet he got hit. And I figured that maybe he wouldn't get hit so hard. But boy, did he get... you don't know him well. I don't know him well. But I watched that, and it was amazing.
And speaking of Arnold Palmer, while Donald Trump talked about him for over 10 minutes, like I said before. It turns out Arnold Palmer was not even a fan of Donald Trump. Let me read you this. While Mr. Palmer had dealings with Mr. Trump over the years, Mr. Palmer's daughter, Peg Palmer, told Mr. Hauser that her father, quote, saw a different side of him during the presidential campaign. Quote, my dad didn't like people who act like they're better than other people, Miss Palmer said. He had no patience for people who are dishonest and cheat. My dad was disciplined. He wanted to be a good role model. He was appalled by Trump's lack of civility and what he began to see as Trump's lack of character. One moment stood out in her mind from the 2016 campaign when Mr. Palmer saw Mr. Trump on television. Quote, my dad made a sound of disgust like uck or ugh, like he couldn't believe the arrogance and crudeness of this man who was the nominee of the political party that he believed in, she recalled. Then he said, he's not as smart as we thought he was. What would my dad think of Donald Trump today, Miss Palmer asked herself. I think he would cringe. Yeah, and I was cringing while watching this entire Trump rally. It was a complete and utter mess, and he didn't even know what day it was. I'm not even kidding you. He did not know what day it was. He kept saying to the crowd repeatedly that he would get them out quickly so that they could watch the Steelers game tonight. Watch this.
So in conclusion, and thank you for being here, everybody. This is beautiful. We'll get you out real fast. We're going to get you go watch that game tonight, right?
Yeah, one problem with that, the game wasn't yesterday. The game was today. Donald Trump said that on Saturday. The game is Sunday. The Pittsburgh Steelers are playing the Jets. And the weirdest part about this all is Donald Trump is expected to attend the game. So he has no idea where he is, what day it is. His mental decline was on full display during this event. And you also saw it by he just kept cursing throughout the event.
And this one, Kamala is further left than them. So you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've had enough, that you just can't take it anymore. We can't stand you. You're a shit vice president. The worst. You're the worst vice president. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. You're fired.
And these are more signs of cognitive decline. These are what people who experience symptoms of dementia go through. They curse like this. They behave exactly like this. They also behave like this, what I'm about to show you. At this moment during Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania, he was tired and exhausted, and he got distracted in the middle of his sentence and started talking about his hair.
People running, 22 Democrats, they're running. Oh, I'm looking at my hair up there. Let's see. Oh, I don't like it.
The rally was going so poorly that at one point Fox News even had to cut away. They cut away from Donald Trump's very bizarre, low-energy rally and switched over to Vice President Harris's much bigger, much more exciting rally.
Oh, but you're talking about a great man. I said, Arnold.
Latrobe, Pennsylvania is an area that Donald Trump won in 2016. He is there holding one of his signature rallies. Kamala Harris, the vice president, has to say.
By the way, they weren't doing that at Fox because they wanted to check in with Vice President Kamala Harris. They were doing that to protect Donald Trump because what people were witnessing on that broadcast was a complete and utter disaster. By the way, I've been saying this is Donald Trump's closing message, talking about Arnold Palmer's penis, his closing message to the voters in Pennsylvania and across America. And it's not just me saying that this is his closing message. Donald Trump's own advisors are saying this is his closing message. Here it is right here. Jason Miller, senior advisor for Donald Trump, said the former president's speech Saturday in Pennsylvania is expected to be the beginning of his closing argument in the final stretch of the campaign. That is a bizarre closing argument, to say the least. The Harris-Walz campaign, who is completely on top of their game, doing a great job, immediately released this press release, rapid response, right after Donald Trump's horrendous event, and they wrote, Trump's Pennsylvania closing argument is literal junk. In a Pennsylvania rally speech speech his campaign team billed as the beginning of his closing argument in the final stretch, Donald Trump focused on the issue most important to voters in this election, a deceased golfer's anatomy. Yeah, this is getting really weird, but you know what's so frustrating to me? It's that the media does not know how to meet this moment at all. The corporate media is just failing day in and day out. You saw the clips that I just played of Donald Trump's rally, and it only got worse from there, quite frankly. But this is how the New York Times covered it. They wrote, Donald Trump opened his rally at the Arnold Palmer Airport in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, with a 10-minute monologue about the golfer for which the airport is named and who grew up here. In the most pivotal battleground state with Election Day in just 17 days, the former president spent the entire opening telling Arnold Palmer golf stories before finally launching in on the border. When we say that the press sane washes Donald Trump's psychosis, this is exactly what we are talking about. Also, this from Politico. This was their headline about that Donald Trump speech that you just saw. They wrote, Trump appears energetic in scattered Pennsylvania speech. Energetic. He was low energy the whole time. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Vice President Harris was rightfully calling out Donald Trump's unhinged behavior in a press conference yesterday. Check this out.
He's becoming increasingly unstable and unhinged, and it requires that response. I think the American people are seeing it, witnessing it in real time, and we must take note of the fact that this is an individual who wants to be president of the United States. And I think the American people deserve better than someone who actually seems to be unstable.
And now let me show you what desperation looks like in the Trump campaign. Basically, the Trump campaign has handed all of their on-the-ground operations in states like Pennsylvania to Elon Musk. They put Elon Musk in charge. And so in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, we saw Elon Musk yesterday hand a $1 million check to a voter chosen at random, supposedly, from co-signers of his, quote, free speech and right to bear arms petition that he's doing out. And he said that he's going to give a person in Pennsylvania $1 million each day up until Election Day if they sign his petition. The winner said, thanks, Elon. This is really great. I don't know how this is legal. Let me just say this. If your candidate is winning, you would not have to pay people $1 million to get involved. This is the epitome of corruption. It's quite frankly everything the Republicans have ever said about, George Soros and all these kind of billionaires that support Democrats. It's all their conspiracy theories about those people. That is exactly what Elon Musk is doing right now, right out in the open. By the way, here's what Donald Trump gets for entrusting Elon Musk with this scheme. Here's from The Guardian. Trump may fail to reach thousands of voters in Arizona and Nevada, with roughly 25% of door knocks done by Elon Musk's America PAC this week flagged internally as potentially fraudulent per leaked data and people familiar. The Guardian writes the potentially fake door knocks, when canvassers falsely claim to have visited a home, could present a serious setback for Trump as he and Kamala Harris remain even in the polls with fewer than 20 days until an election. The Trump campaign earlier this year outsourced the bulk of its ground game to America PAC, the political action committee founded by Elon Musk, betting that spending millions to turn out Trump supporters, especially those who don't typically vote, would boost returns. But leaked America PAC data obtained by The Guardian shows that roughly 24% of the door knocks in Arizona and 25% of the door knocks in Nevada this week were flagged under, quote, unusual survey logs by the campaign sidekick canvassing app. And as Donald Trump's campaign operation becomes undone, he and his surrogates are posting the most unhinged, desperate things on social media to try to, win support. To me, it's doing the exact opposite. Like Nancy Mace, for example, you could see here, Republican Congresswoman wrote, Trump will protect women. Really, this is your strategy? Donald Trump reposted this. I don't think the guy who set back women's rights by decades and is constantly attacking women and who is a sexual assaulter, I don't think that is the person who will protect women. This stuff is not going to work. Here's another thing that Donald Trump reposted on his social media app. If you vote for Trump, you also get RFK Jr., J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker Carlson, Nicole Shanahan, and Vivek Ramaswamy. If you vote for Kamala, what do you get? Vote for your children. I think Kamala should just run this as an ad. This is one of the best ads for Kamala Harris that I could imagine. You could take all of those people. Meanwhile, here's some new data coming in across the country. We saw a new poll from Bullfinch showing Vice President Harris with a commanding lead in Michigan, 53% to Donald Trump's 45%. That is a massive poll. But more important than these polls is the data that we are seeing on the ground. In Michigan, we have a new absentee ballots update. We are seeing that over 1 million ballots have now been returned. And where are these ballots coming from? Mostly from Detroit. The top municipality submitting ballots right now is Detroit, and the top county submitting ballots is Wayne County. This bodes very well for Vice President Harris and the Democrats. And we're seeing such incredible energy across the country. Like, this is so amazing. This was the North Carolina Central University students. They hosted a Soar to the Polls event with a marching band, and just look at how many people were there marching to the polls this weekend. Check this out. Now let me read you this post that was going viral on social media. Just Elizabeth again writes, I and my lifelong Republican recently registered Democrat hubby just voted for Kamala Harris in Florida. Let's frickin' go. As Mike Madrid says, drip, drip, drip. We are seeing a lot of this across the country. So I think even when we see Republican ballots being returned, quite frankly, early, a lot of those ballots can be ballots for Democrats, Republicans crossing over and voting for Vice President Kamala Harris. And we are seeing record turnout right now across the country, and high turnout is very good for the Democrats and for Vice President Kamala Harris. Saturday was the first day of early voting in the state of Nevada, and I want to show you this comparison for one moment. In 2020, roughly 27,000 voters turned out to vote in Clark County on the first day of early voting, and the Democrats won by 7 points. Yesterday, the first day of early voting, over 28,000 people voted. More people voted early in 2024 than in 2020. That's a big, big, big deal. And speaking of Nevada, former President Barack Obama was in Nevada campaigning for Vice President Kamala Harris yesterday. And check out this crowd in Nevada for former President Obama before he took the stage. You could see right here also, you see that all the people wearing purple, those are SEIU union members who came out to support. They began the day doing get out the vote operations, knocking on doors for Vice President Harris, and then they attended this rally. We are seeing such incredible energy across the country. Now, I want to go back to some powerful moments right here from Vice President Harris's speech in Atlanta. I thought it was a total game changer of a speech, quite frankly, at the perfect time. And I want to show you this moment, which was so powerful. Vice President Harris was there, and so was Amber Thurman's family. Amber Thurman was the woman who died because she could not access abortion care in Georgia. Watch this moment.
And Amber's family, including her parents, Shanette and Andre, are here with us tonight. And in front of all the friends here, I thank them both for their courage and their strength. And it is my pledge to the family. Thank you. And I have pledged to the family, it is my pledge to everybody here, when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom nationwide, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. I will proudly sign it into law.
And Vice President Harris finished her speech in Atlanta by speaking about the power of your vote, talking about John Lewis, and saying if Jimmy Carter could vote early, you can too. Watch this.
And the extraordinary, great Congressman John Lewis reminded us that democracy is not a state, it is an act. It is an act. So Georgia, now is our time to act. The baton is in our hands. Election day is in 17 days and early voting has already started. You guys are setting some records, by the way. And so now is the time to make your plan to vote. Make your plan, go to iwillvote.com and get all the information you need. And if you have received your ballot in the mail, please do not wait. Fill it out and return it right away. And you know Georgia's own President Jimmy Carter voted early. Bless him. Just days after his 100th birthday. So look, if Jimmy Carter can vote early, you can too. Because folks, the election is here. It's here. And I need you to continue to do what you do so well. Let's continue to energize. Let's continue to organize. Let's continue to mobilize. And let's remind folks that your vote is your voice and your voice is your power. And so, Georgia, I ask you, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
And then I got to show you this voter here who has a message for Donald Trump. Check this out.
Hey, Donald J. I got my mail-in ballot, and I've got it filled out, and I am voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Not you, old buddy. Ha, ha, ha! Hey, everybody, vote blue. Vote blue.
So are you feeling this momentum right now? Do you see what is happening on the ground? Enough of these phony narratives being pushed by Politico or the New York Times or by cable news to try to have everybody scared. We see the energy on the ground. We see the early voting data. We see what is going on and we understand that democracy is in our hands. Democracy is in your hands. So here's what you got to do. Vote, vote, vote. Make sure if you can early vote, get to the polls right now, send in your ballots. That is the most important thing you could do. And once you do that, ensure that all your pro-democracy friends and family go to the polls. You can see that I voted. You see my sticker right here? I voted earlier. Easy process. I'm so glad that I did it. You got to do it also. Also, subscribe to this channel. Help us get to 3.5 million subscribers. We are gaining thousands by the day, and we can't do it without you. So hit subscribe. If you already hit subscribed, hit the notification bell right next to the subscribe button. You'll get notified anytime we post a new video. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.